Yeah.
Alright, welcome back. We are here today, Frankie and Jay. Midday Talks.
Right, so what's on the docket right now?
Alright, so it's been a couple of movies that have premiered this year. It's been a pretty rocky year for films or the releasing of films.
Yeah, it's one that you saw that I want to see. I think it's really kind of trippy, like Tenet.
Definitely, Tenet. Tenet. See, all right, let's give a really brief history on the release of Tenet because Tenet was originally supposed to be released in July. It's the latest Christopher Nolan film, and Christopher Nolan has a reputation for just dropping the most mind-blowing, mind-numbing, yes, the craziest movie ideas that you could think of, and they're usually entertaining and intellectual at the same time. So this new movie, Tenet, is it's kind of hard to describe because it's not really just one thing. It's got a backdrop and it's got so many different layers to it, but essentially it's pretty much a time travel story of a sort, and it's also kind of like it's got some very few politics, a little bit of militaristic warfare type elements to it.
Okay.
It's got a couple little it's got some human elements to kind of bring it back around and everything, but it's very much it's a story about a young soldier that was recruited for a mission unlike any other.
Okay.
And this mission is basically, without spoiling it, and if I can even describe it, because this is a type of movie you got to see like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times, like real talk, because there's so many different elements to Christopher Nolan movies. It's so complex, but at the same time, it's not that hard to follow.
So what's the premise of Tenet?
So basically, it's about this soldier who he's been recruited to find this weapon, basically.
Okay.
And this weapon, at first, he thinks he's just finding a simple weapon that can prevent the end of the world, basically, and he is looking for that, but it's so much deeper, so much bigger than what you can even realize. So as the plot moves along, you kind of find out that it's kind of a time travel device, and there is a man who's discovered or he has a way of using this device. And basically he's kind of threatening the world.
Oh, wow.
Kind of doing a megalomaniac ransom type of thing, but it's not really a ransom.
Yeah.
He's just like, this is what's about to happen, and I don't want to give too much away, but the main character, it doesn't even actually have a name. He is called the protagonist.
Oh, wow.
And it's very, Christopher Nolan movies don't really waste too much time with explaining. It doesn't waste time with explaining things, and then it gives too much time explaining things. All right, so it probably seems like I'm just talking in circles, because that's kind of what this movie is.
What Tenet does.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you gotta explain this to explain that, and you gotta keep jumping back and forth and explaining the whole thing. It's Inception-esque. It's very Inception-esque. But see, all right, I'm gonna break down my top 3 Christopher Nolan favorite movies.
Okay.
And number 1 is Inception. I don't know. I'll say number 2 is, I don't know, The Dark Knight. Number 3, maybe The Prestige or something.
Okay.
But Inception, the reason why I'll put this one over Inception is because Inception was very the simple concept that Inception tackled, dreams, was so. See, I even feel like Inception deserves like a sequel.
Yeah,
because there's so much more that you could have done with the dreams and everything. But they brought the story to where it needed to be.
It was able to end the story, but
exactly,
it definitely was one of those films that you could have given a second part, and people would have loved it. But then people probably also would have hated it too. So
probably, and there was a rumor that Tenet was a sequel to Inception. Spoiler alert! It's not.
Okay.
But anyway, I'm gonna just stick with.
Do you think it's in the same universe, baby?
Yeah, actually, that
may be the closest.
Yeah, actually, it probably very much is. So is in the same universe, especially because Tenet deals with some like another level of technology.
Okay.
And Inception kind of has that other level of technology to to make you sleep and everything. And bring you out of this dream and all that stuff. But overall, what I will say about Tenet, the visuals are mind blowing. The story, as it goes along, is mind blowing. The best thing about the story is how it comes back around, and how the story just makes a complete 160 in the best, most satisfying way. And it's I wouldn't consider it it's kind of a must see and kind of a classic on a level, but it's not really one of mine.
Okay. But it's so many different, it's nuance. There's different things about it that you're like, oh, this is this, but it is missing this. And
yeah, for sure.
I mean, from time to time, I just spin a bottle cap and see if it stops spinning.
Basically,
see if we're still in this dream.
And speaking of that, like Tenet has a couple. See, Tenet has those things where like the reference that you made, the spinning top is the whether or not if it falls, like are we still in the dream or not?
Yeah.
Tenet has that, but it kind of answers those questions at the end.
Okay.
But it still leaves. It's still like some even bigger, mind blowing things that when you think about it, that it doesn't answer, but when you think about it, when you put two and two together, it just makes the whole thing even more huge, trippy, crazy.
Oh wow!
And yeah, man. So what about you, man? You seen any pretty cool movies this year?
I've seen a couple pretty cool movies. I can't. That's crazy. I can't think of the name of the movie. I saw the movie, the Jamie Foxx Netflix film.
What was it called? Power?
Yeah, Power. Yeah.
Okay, it was called Power.
It's dead and it's awesome. It was a pretty good movie. The premise is about a guy who is about let's say. A new drug comes on the scene and it gives people powers like momentarily. Like it only lasts for like 5 to 10 minutes. But kind of like The Boys, it kind of tells you like what happens when you unleash powers onto people. But the larger thing about the overarching story is Jamie Foxx. He is a former military person who was experimented on, and so he has a child who ultimately reaps something from those experiments. And so you go on this journey with him and this young lady who he meets, who is she's a very talented rapper. Like she can rap really, really good. But she's from the 3rd Ward in Louisiana, and so there you find that Louisiana is like one of the testing grounds for this drug. And there's a bigger premise to it all, right? And so it's a really good film. It has Joseph Gordon-Levitt's in it as well. Mm-hmm. It's a pretty awesome film.
What would you say is the biggest, like, the draw? Like, what's the like the money shot, or like the money of the what really brought it in for you that solidified it being kind of awesome or entertaining?
Kind of the relationship between all of the characters, like the Jason Gordon-Levitt, Jamie Foxx dynamic, the young lady and the Jamie Foxx, like all these different people have different dynamics, but ultimately I don't want to like give away too much away, but they come together kind of. They come together kind of as a point. I think Jamie Foxx's performance, because he comes off kind of like an anti-hero in a way. Yeah. But ultimately, when you see the story and what it's about, he is the ultimate hero. But it's kind of like a jaded anti-hero who's just like, he has one mission and that's what he wants to get done. It's like, I'm gonna do whatever I gotta do to get it done. And so it's basically to protect his child. And so it's a really good film. Netflix, when you talk about Netflix, man,
speaking of Netflix,
their studio, man, has been doing some really awesome things.
Yeah, I want to ask you about that because I've heard good and bad things about the Jamie Foxx Power movie.
Yeah,
and
tell me some of the bad things you heard.
Well, I've heard that it, like, for instance, like the 5-minute power thing. I've heard like people didn't like that, like about how it was like spurts of really cool things.
Yeah.
And then it would be over. And if people were saying like it never really went anywhere with that. But what I want to ask specifically is because, Netflix is kind of like a low budget studio, but they're blowing up so hard and they're getting these huge actors to do these movies, and Hollywood's pretty much been doing that forever. Like Hollywood has always made low budget movies with big actors. Actually.
Yeah, like I before we get into that, I'll put it like this: like Keanu Reeves, like he went from making like studio films.
Yeah.
Will Smith. They go from making these studio films to, once you get to a certain level, now I can just pick and choose my parts, and I can make the films that I want to make. So Netflix is another outlet to be like, okay, well, come make a film. If you want to make it, we'll fund it and put it on Netflix.
So speaking of Will Smith, I was going to talk about Bright, because Bright is another Netflix movie. Power is a Netflix movie, and I see potential in. I saw potential in Bright. I guess you see potential in Power.
In Bright as well. I see potential in Bright. Right. The Ryan Reynolds film, I see potential in that he had.
Oh, yeah. Six Underground.
Six Underground, awesome film. I think that's my thing. Like, what I found Netflix to be doing is you have all of these films that they make, and they all have the ability to either franchise them, because I'm thinking Six Underground, you're getting a franchise with that. Bright, you're getting a franchise with that.
What was it, Charlize Theron, Old Guard?
The Old Guard, you can possibly get a franchise. Well, you're not possibly, that should be a franchise. So I see the ability to build all of these different various franchises around all these different types of storytelling. That's one of the things that Netflix, I think, is really taking it in hand and really doing a good job at, is making their own set of films, their own set of followings, their own set of stories and universes that you can put together. You know what I mean? And so I kind of understand what they're saying about the 5-minute power thing, but that's another film where I look at it and say, ultimately, if they want to, they can make another part to it, because it's so much. It's quick storytelling.
Okay.
So it's kind of like, it's the same way where they go very lightly to give you past interactions, but in the same instance, they give it to you throughout the story, but it's not like deep character building. So I kind of get, when you think about shallow character building, like, I'm going to give you the shallow part of the character and I'm going to let you know the basics of the story, but not deep, because it's a 2-hour movie. It's like, we can't give you everything.
Speaking of Netflix, I haven't seen any more cool movies on Netflix, but I've seen the show Glow.
Okay.
And Glow is actually an older show, but I'm just I just got put on this year, and I really like Glow. I love the character development and just like the feel of the show and everything. It's got this 80s feel. It's basically about gorgeous. What's it called? Gorgeous women in wrestling. I forgot the acronym. Yeah, but it's basically about these women that they're like actresses, but they're wrestling. Yeah, and they all like grow together, and it's like they just learn to wrestle. They kind of become athletes a little bit and everything, and it's a pretty cool show. And another new show that just got on Netflix, but what didn't start on Netflix is Cobra Kai. Yeah, and everybody is really talking about Cobra Kai. Cobra Kai is like. That blew up a couple years ago, actually, because Cobra Kai started out on YouTube. It was a YouTube Red series. Netflix just bought it, so now more people are able to see it. Yeah. And Cobra Kai is another one that's got incredible character development, and it's just doing some really cool things. Definitely franchise worthy. It just finished season 2 like a year ago, so I'm pretty sure they're going to get started on season 3 pretty soon. We're about to get some new characters in here. Elizabeth Shue,
I'm excited,
a couple of them old karate masters coming back for some more action. So that's going to be pretty cool. And Netflix is really doing their thing, so we really look forward to seeing more things that Netflix has in store for us. All right?
Till next time.
Till next time. Peace.